My nightmare.
Welcome back, my fellow spooky folks. I'm your host, Troy Ryan, and this is Man of Horror, my horror pod where I talk all things scary. Today, I want to get back to a smaller list. I'll be sharing my top 5 cabin horror films, and then I'm going to review and rate the film Knock at the Cabin. It's an interesting film from M. Night Shyamalan. If you, as a horror fan, you should totally know who he is, but you know he can be hit or miss. So definitely stick around for that one. But let's go ahead and get started. Check it out.
I'm afraid!
Don't be afraid.
No. Be afraid. Be very afraid.
In 5th place, The Evil Dead, the original Cabin in the Woods type film, and our introduction to a classic horror world. This is like literally like the OG cabin horror film. Like I don't have to do like research on it because I'm just talking out the side of my goddamn ass right now. But um, I'm pretty sure this is like the first Cabin in the Woods horror film. But again, don't quote me on that one. But you know, it takes place in the woods again, and there's like a few college teens who basically find the Necronomicon, which is, you know, the evil book of the dead, and they find some tape recordings of a professor reading from the book. One reason or another, they end up playing it, and all hell breaks loose, literally. Like, if you've seen the Evil Dead movies, you know how wild shit gets. There's possessions and all kind of crazy shit. And it's, you know, just classic. Like, I've talked about Evil Dead before, so I won't say too much more, but we're introduced to, you know, the final horror man, I think the best final man, Ash Williams. So I definitely say this one is like required horror viewing. In 4th place, I Spit on Your Grave, another classic that also has a remake that's worth watching, and then like 3 or 4 sequels, which I had a traumatic ass day one day because I watched like all 3 or 4 of them in a row, and that was just a rough fucking day. Like, the I Spit on Your Grave movie, like if you know about it, it's extremely gruesome, um, and it's one of the first horror films that make me feel genuinely uncomfortable. Um, it's a lot to do with in the first half, honestly, but once it gets to the second half, the payoff is so worth the uncomfortability. Like, if you don't know about this film, I'll kind of let it slide. But it's about a woman who decides to spend time in a cabin by herself in the woods. Stupid. I mean, she should be able to do that, but sometimes in this world, right? So she's basically stalked, beaten, and raped, and just in really fucked with in like awful ways, and then left for dead. She doesn't die, you know, she survives, however, and comes back to fuck up shit. Like all the guys who did everything to her, she gets them one by one. Her revenge is, again, it's worth the uncomfortable scenes in the first half of the film. So definitely check that one out. In 3rd place, Cabin Fever. This is another one that I've discussed on the pod before, so I won't say too much. But this one is another body horror, sorry, classic. Um, some college teens, you know, as it always fucking starts, they're on spring break. They go to a cabin, and the water and the surrounding woods are like contaminated with a flesh-eating virus, and it starts to like infect them one by one. The ways in which the virus are shown is just like, it's so gross. It's like perfectly gross because you can't look away. You know, one of my favorite scenes, which I mentioned before too, is when the guy is when a guy or whatever, he's like fingering this girl, and there's blood from her skin coming off, and it's on his head. It's just, it's sick. It's crazy. It's perfect scene. In a second place, a movie literally called Cabin in the Woods. I think it's one of the best horror comedy parody films. I mean, it's more so horror, but it's comedic at parts, and it is essentially a parody of horror. Hence, Cabin in the Woods. But it's so smart, man. It's so smart. It's so funny, and it's just so well done. It's written by Joss Whedon, who is like a personal favorite of mine. He created Buffy, which immortalizes him for me enough. But um, yeah, it's basically like a kind of love letter, in in the same sense a fuck you letter to like extreme horror fans and fandom, and you kind of can't help but appreciate it. The Cabin in the Woods motif in this is just much more sinister, and it is just like revealed, like it's such a smart story, man. It's like revealed that um essentially this cliche thing happens, and it has to take place several times a year so that the guys that live below us, like underground, are appeased, basically, right? Like they require these sacrifices, and if they don't get them, they'll rise in humanity. And it's I don't know. Like I'm like literally smiling talking about it because I love the scene, and it's like I kind of want more about the old ones. Like I y'all know me, I'm a stickler for fucking backstory, and I would love to know a little bit more. But yeah, totally worth a watch. Check that one out. Lastly, in first place, Evil Dead 2013. Start the list with Evil Dead, and the list with Evil Dead. Y'all know I love this movie. I've talked about this one on several different pods. Hell, like I think actually, yeah, I just talked about it in the last fucking episode. I can't help it. It's such a good movie. Like it has a lot of it just has like a lot of what's that called? God damn it! Like a lot of I don't know. It's just fucking great. I won't say too much again. I talk about it all the time, and the story is basically the story from the Evil Dead, right? Teens go up to a cabin, but they change several key factors. Instead of Ash Williams, instead of a male character, they had Mia Allen, and she's the female character side or whatever. And instead of going there for spring break, they're going there because she's like having um a detox weekend, or I guess quitting drugs. Basically, I don't recall if it was like heroin or coke, but ultimately, she had overdose, so she was there to like get rid of it and just I guess intervention a little bit with her friends and stuff like that. But you know, a lot of the same things happen. Again, there's the book, there's the reading of a said book, and then there is hell breaking fucking loose, right? Um, and then this one is just more updated, quality wise, gore wise, and visuals, and it's one of my like it's become one of my go to horror films when I just want to watch something scary or just have something scary on. And it's just it has gore, it has creative kills, it has an interesting storyline, like the killer is actually scary. Like the fucking abomination entity that rises at the end. It's kind of fucking terrifying. If you haven't seen this one, definitely do yourself a favor and watch it. All right. So that was my top 5 cabin horror films. So let's go ahead and get into this knock at the cabin review and a rating. Um, so first off, it's an M Night Shyamalan film, right? So again, like I said in the beginning of the episode, if you know M Night Shyamalan and his work, he is definitely hit or miss. Um, it is kind of crazy because like the hits are like wow, and then the misses are just so bad. um, but I mean, I guess in that sense, right? That's truly balanced on a spiritual level, so that should be expected, right? Whatever. Anyway, this one is more so I think on the hit side. I liked it. I did like it. It was a very interesting concept, right? Family in the cabin in the woods, 4 people come, and it seems to be like a home invasion, which in a sense it is, but it's much deeper than that, right? It's more so about these four people trying to convince this family that someone in their family has to die from their own hands. They have to sacrifice someone to save the world, right? Um, I I went into it expecting something else. I'm not fully sure what that was because I didn't read the book. This is like based on a book or whatever, so I didn't really read the book. Um, so at first I wanted more, but like once I removed my own expectations, it became better. I really like the characters in this. They are very human. And I say very because like every character was relatable. Like I feel like almost every character was representing a different part of humanity. Like the four strangers at the door, they were like the four horsemen of the apocalypse. So if they definitely were representing different parts of humanity, but I also feel like the family that was, chosen to make the sacrifice was are were representative of different aspects of humanity as well. Um and for that, like I said, they all just appear to be very, very human, and I like them. There weren't any like hateable characters. Like there's the people you're like, "Oh, I can't wait till they die." Even like the most quote unquote hateable character, um, was just like, okay, he's not trying to be hated. Like I don't know, it's hard to explain, but like I didn't feel a way towards him. Um, One thing I will say, at some parts it seemed a little slow, and I would have liked to have uh more, I guess, world indie visuals. But that's just because I love like world indie disaster type films. So that's just like my own like thing. And again, I did, this is based on a book that I did not read. So I could totally be just really biased on that part. Aside from that though, again, I liked it. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. The first star, and actually really quick before that, I have to shout out um the acting in this one really quick too, because they all did amazing. And apparently, like, I guess Batista was just like nervous, which is weird, right? Like he's been acting for a while, but I guess he's more so done like these caricature type characters almost, to where this was, I think, a really serious thing for him, like a really serious role. So I don't know. I'll have to like back check his catalog, but I'm pretty sure it's like action and caricature type shit. So, but yeah, I heard he's like nervous or whatever. So, um, he did really good, and just the little girl, she did really good too. I think she did really well for her age. I love when kid actors and actresses are just believable, because it's unfortunate, but it happens. I.e., Lily from Modern Family. Some of the lines, can come off a little robotic. So, she did really, really well. So again, back to my rating here: 1 star for watchability. It is watchable. I did mention there's slower moments, but they're not boring slow moments, right? That's the thing. Some slow moments are just like, and you lose interest. I was still very interested. I just would have wanted more action or something. Like, but again, I had expectations, took it out of my mind, became a better movie. um, the second one is for story creativity. It was a very creative story. It's about the apocalypse in a sense, and ultimately, these four people come together from like different feelings and dreams and premonitions and things like that. Like they didn't even know each other. So it was like they were chosen to be the quote unquote horsemen, and whoever was at that cabin that they knew that they had to go to was the family that would have to make the choice. So it didn't even matter. I don't think the family per se that was there specifically mattered. I think it was more so the cabin. Um, but either way, totally interesting story. And then the last one is Kill Count. Because it is a world ending film, there is a few scenes of just like mass fucking insanity. So it definitely ranked up the kills in this one because of that. It is now on Peacock, so I would definitely say check it out. It's totally worth the watch. Um, if you again know M. Night Shyamalan, you might have been like nervous or apprehensive, like I was at first, but it's worth it. Definitely check that one out.
He's sick fucks. You've seen one too many movies.
Now, Sid, don't you blame the movies. Movies don't create psychos. Movies make psychos more creative.
As always, thanks so much for listening, guys. We are currently at over 550 listens, getting close to that 600 mark. My next big marker is 1,000, so let's get it. Don't forget to follow the official Instagram page for the pod, Man of Horror _podcast. And until next time, stay spooky, folks. Peace.